YCS Bologna is in about a week or so, and the ban list is gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen either late this month or next month in January. But I believe that there's going to be, I'd say, a few changes. I think a lot of impactful changes for the meta and some, maybe interesting pills off the ban list. Let's just talk about the ban list now. So I'm gonna scroll down in the usual ban list way, but this is for predictions. So this is not an official ban list, but this is a kind of like visual of what the ban list would be like if it was like this. So the first card, and it's not surprising, Yugioh, the Ancient Sentinel. This card is very broken alongside with Kelbeck. Spoiler alert, both of those cards should be banned because both of those cards are very, very broken. Be able to mill 5 on either player's turn, which is like really, really strong. And yeah, I mean, tier limits is just so powerful. It's a reason why these cards are banned in the OCG. I think they are way stronger than the shufflers. The millers are just way too powerful and should be banned. They just snowball very, very quickly, and things just go wrong for you. At least if you're on the opposite end. If you're playing the deck, then everything is good for you. So let's scroll down. Again, Kelbeck, just insane. It's another mill 5. Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. I said this like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I said that Aqua Dolphin, maybe it's been even 4 years ago. Neospatian Aqua Dolphin, every time you resolve connector, you go into Aqua Dolphin, you just win the game. Especially in a soul deck, like you just win the game automatically because Dolphin hits a hand trap out of your hand. Isol's gonna bait out another interruption. So it already baits out like 2 interruptions pretty much. Because you're always gonna have an extender. So like at that point you need like 3 or plus hand traps just to like stop this deck. And they can Aqua Dolphin again in their combo if they have a good enough hand. It's just too insane to have this card in the game. And I feel like Connector is not even really the issue. It's really just Aqua Dolphin. Like, ripping a card from your hand is just too broken. Because you could even just normal summon Aqua Dolphin, summon an Extender, go into ISO, without even, like, doing the Connector stuff. So, I think just you deal with the problem. The problem is obviously Aqua Dolphin ripping a card from your hand. All the other Neospatians, they're not even warriors. They're like, I don't know, Pyro, Wing Beast, or whatever. A Rock. Like, nobody cares about that. You can specimen like Grand Mole. Like, who's gonna care? If you specimen Aqua Dolphin, then things get scary because it's a warrior. You can rip a card from your hand. It's just too broken. So I think that card is just too powerful. Scrolling down, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. This card is going to be played in Centurion, and I just feel like this card, we talked about it before, or you've talked about it with other friends, or you've seen it in other videos. This card just is a turn skip, which is just not really good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Healthy wise, as you see with VFD and just all these other cards, S0, Zaxel Utopia, whatever the card is called. Like, these cards are just not fair to have in a game. Even if it's not like the best deck, it's just really frustrating to be like, oh, I didn't open up any hand traps to my opponent combo. I just lose, like, automatically. You can't even just interact. There's no interaction. There's no like, oh, you have like Omni Negates. I can, Ultimate Slayer negate, get that off the field and use the effect of Natis and then pop that card. Like, you can't even do that. You just automatically lose. Your turn is skipped. You can't do that. So this card just should be banned. Moving down, I think there's like one other card maybe. Yes, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. I know it's pretty late to be saying this card is ban worthy, but I still think it's just one of the most powerful cards in Yu-Gi-Oh right now that you could just search in terms of trap cards. And they should have banned this like centuries ago, but I guess like it's better late than never. It's better late than never. Even though this card is not seen in play, it's just really good to get this card out of the game because it's just not fair. And I play Labyrinth. I'm the Labyrinth player, and I'm telling you, Eradicator should be banned. So let's just move on to the next cards. What is limited? What did I put limited? Fenrir, Castera Fenrir. Now, they didn't limit Fenrir last ban list, and I feel like they should have, limited it before. I feel like Fenrir is not really necessarily broken, but it's like the Pinkertops effect, where like if you can play this card, you will play it, and like every deck could pretty much play this card, and it's just way too generic for what it does, and it just interacts with your opponent's, hand traps or, interactions in general very, very well. It baits out like 2 disruptions pretty much, like most cases. And this card is it's just way too powerful to at least have it at 3. At 1, it's fine. You draw the 1 of, it's okay. It's just like Pinkertops, and Pinkertops still at 1, crazy enough. So I think Fenrir is just way too powerful. Should be banned, or not should be banned. Should be limited. It's not that broken. It's not that broken. So moving on, Magis Spectre Unicorn. This card, I'm spoiling. But Magis Spectre Unicorn, Kieran. This card is very, very powerful. It's a very strong card, but it is 2023, and I feel like a card that cannot be targeted, cannot be destroyed by card effects, and can bounce itself or another Magis Spectre and another card on your opponent's side of the field or whatever. To their hand. I mean, it's really good, but like, is it like concerning to where like it needs to be banned? Not really, especially because the pendulums are just not good. Like, they haven't really been good in about like 5 years. So I think that Kirin could probably come back and be safe pretty much because there's just no pendulum deck to abuse it. And also, Magis Spectres just got support recently, and a lot of the support kind of helps or just needs Magis Spectre Kirin to be unbanned. So I'm just expecting fully for this card to be unbanned. Probably not at 3 or 2, but limited is just fine. And then a card we've been asking for a while, Orcus Heartpourer. What more can I say? Like, this deck is trash. Like, have you ever heard of Bestials? Like, man, and like, even if you have like an insane board, like, what is the insane board with Orcus? You send up a Crescendo and a Dingirsu, yay, or IP or SP, I guess, right now. Like, yay, that's so broken, so broken. It really is. It's just not good. All right, for the big hit, Unchained Soul of Shavara. Now, you could argue that Tour Guide from the Underworld could go to 1, and I feel like there's just no reason to. 1, Shavar is a common, so it doesn't like break your wallet. It doesn't make the deck unplayable as well. The deck is still very playable. And then 2, Tour Guide from the Underworld just came out in the rarity collection as like 7 different rarities. Like, why would you hit that card? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And Shavar is one of the most powerful Unchained cards from all the recent support they got. It's just really good. It plays through hand traps. It sets a card every turn. It's just too powerful. It's a level 6, so you can make, the DDD. So it just deals with a lot of the issues of the power of Unchained. And I feel like at limited status, it really just makes the deck feel more, on the level of the other decks that are lower than it. So Unchained definitely needs some hits, especially because we're hitting stuff like Tier. Yeah, I feel like Unchained is just very powerful. Oh, controversial. Now, I've already spoke my piece. I've made a video, and I said that Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew should never have been banned, and I still agree with that today because if you look at 2022, a lot of the cards that were, meta relevant are just not relevant anymore. You have like Sword Soul, not relevant. Adventure cards, not relevant. Punk cards, they would probably be relevant if we had Chaos Ruler or whatever, but like that is also irrelevant. Like, pretty much everything irrelevant or everything from 2022 is pretty much irrelevant, and that's mainly due to power creep. If we saw what was coming out right after Meow Meow Mew banned, like, bro, like, have you ever seen Sprite? Have you ever seen full power Tier? Like, have you ever seen Tier right now? Like, it's just way better than something like Prank Kids. Like, I don't feel like this card should be banned. It could be limited. It could be limited, 100%, and the deck would be fair. It'd be annoying. I agree, the deck is annoying to play against, but like, Is it ban worthy? Not really. Now, two controversial. Well, I wouldn't really say controversial, but like two cards that probably are gonna get unbanned. Invoker. I feel like this card is just not really that broken. There's not really any good targets. I mean, you could summon a Goki, but like there's no like Firewall's been errated, so like it's not even that great anymore. And then Zodiac Trident. This has happened in Master Duel, and I'm pretty sure the OCG has Trident limited. I'm not sure, but Trident is just it's not that powerful anymore. But I guess the scary part is that Zoo becomes playable, which I mean it's annoying, but like it's just okay. It's not like gonna be like meta warping of an engine or even a deck. So Zodiac Trident just not that great. It's okay to come back. Definitely. And then Invoker, same thing. Next, we have Emergency. Now, this is a hit to Rescue Ace, just like they did with Pearly. I feel like they're going to do with Rescue Ace in that they limit uh, the E-Telly. One of the E-Tellys, and that is, Emergency is the only E-Telly in this deck. But, in Pearly, they had Delicious. That went to 1. And I feel like they're going to do the same thing with Emergency. It's just a consistency hit. And it also lowers the way you play through hand traps because Emergency, if they have Emergency and, you hand trap them and they chain it, like you activate Veiler, activate, whatever, and they chain Emergency, I mean, you just lose, right? Or if you activate Emergency after getting hand trapped, like, you're pretty much, balling. So, Emergency probably should get hit. It's really a good card. It's an E-Telly. It's the best, like, spell card in that deck. And I think it would really lower down the power level, or at least the consistency of the deck. All right, moving on. Pearly Sleepy Memory Limited. Now, I did have this at semi-limited, and I'm not sure what approach they're going to take with this. And the logic with limiting this card is that I feel like as a going first deck, Purely is just not really. It's really toxic. Because if you don't play Hate for this deck, if you don't play Herald of the Abyss, you don't play XYZ Encore, you pretty much have to deal with a draw 4, draw 6, and then a new war, which is like not healthy to have in the game. So you always have to build with Purely in mind, because if you don't prepare for Purely and you just let Purely go rampant, then Purely just they set up this impossible board to break, because now they have like 3 hand traps, a new war, and then if you outdo a new war, uh, and they use all the materials or whatever, then they just get 3 cards added back to their hand. They get a Purely summon to the field. Like, it's just not healthy to have in the game, and I feel like this definitely hinders the deck. It might kill the deck, maybe, arguably, but I feel like it would make the going second build a lot more better than like the first build, or the going first build, and I feel like that is the way Konami would probably want you to go with this deck in the future, because the going first build is just way too unhealthy, and you know it's just really hard to prepare or beat this deck if you're not prepared for it. Moving on to the semi-limiteds, Miscellaneousaurus. This card, I mean, dinosaurs are just not that good. I don't think dinosaurs are a problem anymore. Just same thing with prank kids. Like, some of these decks are just outdated and just not that good. Especially because Mystic Mine is banned. I feel like Mystic Mine was a lot. It had a lot to do with dinosaur success. And another thing is like dinosaurs is very fragile to hand traps. Like, if you Ash Blossom the Miscellaneousaurus, it sometimes ends their turn. Like, if you like Imperm a Oviraptor, like, yes, Miscellaneousaurus can punish that, but like like the deck is just very fragile to one hand trap, and especially Miscellaneousaurus. Like, if you Skullmeister Miscellaneousaurus, stops their turn. The deck is not really inconsistent, like really consistent, and it's just not that good. Like, even the boards are like breakable, because like arguably I pretty much would say like Infernoble's better, Vanadium's better. All these other combo decks are just better. So why not have dinosaurs in the format? Like, it doesn't really cause an issue in the format. And then The next card is Pot of Prosperity. This card, I don't think they're gonna do this, but this is just a prediction. I think there's like a 50-50 chance they're gonna hit Pot of Prosperity because it is one of the most powerful spell cards in the game, and then as well as just I don't know, maybe they'll hit it, but it also did get reprinted in the rarity collection, so there's just it's up in the air. It's up in the air. And then for the unlimiteds, it's just I mean Castier Unicorn, like Fenrir is at 1, so it just doesn't matter. Engage. They're getting more support in the future, so probably gonna go to 3. It's Public Judgment. It's not good. And then Sprite Starter. I feel like Sprite has just been on a downwards trend for the past like I'd say 6 months because Sprite is just not really good, especially with Elf Band. Runic variants are really strong with Sprite, but I feel like the problem is they can't really play any non-engine. They could play like 5, 6, maybe 7 spots for non-engine, and that's just not really good in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! You need like 9, 12, 15 non-engines going second, or at least a powerful deck that's going second. And Sprite alone is just not really good going second. Even the Runic cards are not really good going second, besides like the Flashing Fire and the Freezing Curses. So I feel like Sprite is just in a terrible position, and putting Sprite starter to 2 or putting it to 3 would make the deck a little bit better. Not really going to change much. I mean, it's just like a 10% difference, so it just doesn't really matter. So that is it for the ban list. I think all of these are fair enough to have. I think it lowers the consistency of every deck. Unchained, Purely, Infernobles, it gets rid of the Aqua Dolphin. And then it brings back a lot of interesting cards like Magis Spectre Karen, Harpor, Zodiac Dryden, Meow Meow Mew, Invoker could be pretty cool as well. So, I mean, it's a really solid ban list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.